Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will talk about China's new provocative moves near Ladakh border. As the harsh winter season withers away, China is deploying new advanced weapon systems, including long-range digital rocket launchers and armored vehicles equipped with howitzers near the Ladakh border. These moves come even as China claims to be interested in disengaging and de-escalating tensions at the border with India. So how should these moves be seen? In the agenda today, we will try to analyze these developments. We have with us former Deputy Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh, and former Head of Territorial Army, Major General Ashwani Sivaj. But before we start our conversation, have a look at this small report.
A year after launching military aggression on the Ladakh border, China is deploying new advanced weapon systems, including long-range digital rocket launchers and armored vehicle equipped with howitzer in the mountainous region, besides conducting military exercises along the line of actual control in India. In actions which can be termed provocative, the Chinese People's Liberation Army Xinjiang Military Command, which is deployed in China's high-altitude western region, has recently taken delivery of 3 new advanced weapon systems, including armored vehicles and artillery pieces, according to Chinese media reports. These reports say the PLA is replacing its outdated artillery and digital long-range heavy rocket artillery with greatly enhanced all-weather combat capability of the Chinese army in the border region. These artillery systems will be deployed for missions like fast deployment, seizing and control of key regions, and group assault in many types of terrain, including high-altitude terrains and deserts, as well as close to rivers and lakes under all weather conditions, said a report on the Chinese official TV channel. Another new weapon system delivered to the command is a 4-wheel self-propelled howitzer whose test firing was conducted in the Karakoram Mountains at an altitude of 4,500 meters, said CCTV official TV channel of China. Along with the induction of new weapon system, the PLA has carried out heavy deployment of troops near the Ladakh border in the training areas from where they had transgressed into Indian areas last year. The PLA is also building infrastructure in China's depth areas, which are about 75 to 100 kilometers from Indian forward locations at some points. So what do these moves for China indicate? Peer report.
Now let's welcome our guest, General Gurmeet Singh and Major General Ashwani Sivaj. Welcome to the program, both of you. So I'll start with Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh about the latest developments that are taking place near the Ladakh border, like China is deploying new arsenal, like new digital rocket launchers, and then armored vehicles with howitzers. So how do you see these developments?
Ajay, after having completed the phase 1 of disengagement, which was mainly regarding the north and the south bank of Pangangso, after that, there has not been much progress as per the disengagement, de-reduction and de-escalation is concerned in this area. But one thing is definite, that after the weather has improved, there has been activities by the Chinese in the depth area, especially as it relates to training, rotation of troops, reduction of some equipment, and as you were saying, of the 30 rocket systems, of UAVs, and other aspects. I would say that I think it is very important for us to keep a very close check on what is happening even in the depth area. And there is a need to be alert. Firstly, we have no trust on PLA and China. So therefore, it becomes even more important for us to ensure that we are not taken, there is firstly no chance that China will surprise us this time, because last year it was different. Last time the scene was different, but this time absolutely they'll not be able to survive. And I think our Indian troops are absolutely off ready, alert, and are ready for any contingency. That is the scenario at the moment.
Right.
But at the same time, if we look at it, the 11th military level meeting was held in April. We are still awaiting for the next meeting. And apart from that, working mechanism of coordination consultation, 23rd meetings have been held till now. And we haven't had any word about the next special representative meeting, which is the political level, that is the NSA level, and the special representative of the China is concerned. So I think these are the steps that are very slowly. But at the same time, it is important for us to be alert and keep a very close check on what China is doing, even in the depth area.
Right. So I go to General Siraj about this. How do you see? Because I'll point out interesting fact about like China. We know where they are very opaque in their movements, and particularly about strategic movements or troop movements or these weapon acquisition and other things. But about these systems, new rocket launchers and howitzers, they announced it and they showed it on CCTV, and I mean their media reported, official media reported it. So is that kind of they wanted to tell India? Was that a provocation? I mean, I see this very interesting. Otherwise, they don't disclose what's happening in the armed forces. What do you say?
Ajay, you have to see the whole issue in larger context. Remember that India has agreed with China for disengagement as a comprehensive package, and it was to be done in phases. In phase one, the Chinese were to basically disengage from finger 4 to finger 8 and Sirchap, and we in return has to vacate the Kailash range. Now that phase one is over, and in phase two, we basically will have to get it disengaged in Gogra, Hot Spring, and also Depsang.
Yes.
And there was an understanding that this will be done in phase 2 and phase 3. Now the Chinese have, done, which we never thought we'll do, but the Chinese are known for doing. They knew that the Kailash range is very important, and on 29th, 30th August, that offensive maneuver done by Indian forces, where we completely surprised Chinese and occupied Kailash range, was a game changer, because the Kailash range is basically dominates the Chul Mogdo Bowl. Second thing is that, Pangur Gap, from where Chinese have come in 1962, is been totally under our control. We could go in China, but Chinese couldn't come. So this was sort of psychological impact on them, and hence they agreed for, in a phased manner, disengagement, giving us an impression that if we vacate Kailash range in phase 1, they will also go from finger 4 to 8, and thereafter in phase 2 and phase 3, they will basically disengage from Gogra, Hot Spring and Depsang. And we vacated a Kailash range, which was a trump card available with India.
Yes.
Once we have vacated Kailash range, we do not have a leverage left. And now what they are doing is they are indirectly putting pressure on India. First, they are no more talking about Gogra, Hot Spring and especially Depsang. They may agree on Gogra, Hot Spring. And now indirectly they start putting pressure on India by trying to convey that they are well prepared. They have now made it their defenses in Rudog, which is about 60 kilometers. They have got artillery guns, Howitzer, they have got tanks, they have got air defense system S-400. They have also all airfields have been totally modernized. So all the infrastructure development which they have done recently is something to watch. And
Right.
that's what they are indirectly putting pressure that we should not bother about now Depsang and all, take it as a fait accompli. Now,
Right.
this is what is the strategy of the China. China knows it that we have already vacated Kailash range. We do not have a leverage left, and hence they are doing dilly-dally. They are unlikely to vacate Depsang. And indirectly, they are putting pressure by telling to the world as well as India that we are well prepared and we are far better prepared than what we were there about 5-6 months. So this has to be seen in this context. Now, my only take is what will happen hereafter is a mute question. Will Chinese abide by what they promised to vacate, especially Depsang, in near future? That has to be seen.
Yeah, you have a-
Notwithstanding that,
Right.
one good thing is that as far as India is concerned, we were quite worried about what Chinese can do. And hence, the troops which were disengaged from Kailash Range and other places have not de-invested from battle zone. They're still in Leh Ladakh and they are very close to the battle area. Should there be a requirement of reoccupying Kailash Range, I think India has the capability and capacity to do that. That is the point which Chinese must understand. So the additional troops, about 50,000, which came in Leh Ladakh, are still there. Their infrastructure has been already built up by the Indian Army, and they're capable of staying there and putting counter pressure to the China.
Right. Very valid points made by General Siwaj. General Gurmeet, I come to you. Like as you mentioned about the leverage we had about from the Kailash Range issue. I have been raising this issue again and again, where I think we did not negotiate well, because we know the betrayal that China is used to. We should not have trusted them. So once we lost that leverage, now we had to maybe gain some other leverage to force China into disengaging. What do you say?
Absolutely, Ajay, I agree with you. We had a solid leverage with us, which was created by preemptive action on 29th of August. We had occupied the heights on our side of the LAC, which were prominently dominating the areas of China. And they were feeling exceedingly uncomfortable. Every movement of them was being seen. It was a very solid leverage with us. But one must understand that in the history of China, they have never ever gone back from a place which they have occupied. But what was achieved in the first week of February this year was also a great victory for India.
No,
and let me tell you one thing. These leverages...
We know it was a great victory for India. But what I am trying to say again and again is that we should have said we disengage from all friction points, not only this point. So that is my point. So why did we not do? Yeah.
Ajay, could have, should have is a past. Now we got to see how do we create our leverages for the negotiation and further aspect of it. And we must look at it, what are the next steps that we got to take. See, the next challenges are that we have to restart the LAC clarification exercise. This is at the higher level I'm talking about. But if you talk about the
that is, I don't think that is going to happen in near future. Right now we have a challenge on the border, and it's a very provocative situation, because I see Depsang, China will never give up. In fact, one of the talks, I think they said it. This is all, disengagement is over. This is all that was to happen. I don't think they are going to move. So how do we force China to disengage? That is my point.
Look, Ajay, now at the moment there's a conflict of priority and sequencing. Whereas India is saying that let's first disengage, de-escalate and de-induct. But China is saying correspondingly, let's improve our bilateral relationship. This is the first fundamental point. Secondly, on ground, the disengagement is still incomplete. De-escalation has not been done and de-induction has not been done. And the situation as was before April 2020 has not been restored. The facts on the ground. But the damages which has happened because of what we went through the 2020 was that firstly the PLA and the China, they dishonored the agreements. 5 agreements were dishonored. They need to be dusted, revised and brought to the current dynamics. I think that is first important thing to maintain peace and tranquility. Peace and tranquility is prevailing, or the status quo is prevailing at the moment because there is a moratorium on the patrolling. We are not going close to LAC, but once it restarts, the violent face-off will start again. So that's why I was saying in the context of that, and I agree with you, Depsang is a very difficult thing. It cannot be solved at military level. And let me tell you one thing, we have to restart the LAC clarification exercise if we want to, because the entire LAC which is there are 10 to 14 areas where we have the differing perception of LAC. Until unless we close or we understand what the perception of each other is. Presently, it's a unilateral perception. They have their perception, we have our perception. And because of that, there are 10 to 14 areas where the area of differing perception is there. And there can be problem again if we don't solve it. That is the issue. And at the same time, let me tell you emphatically that between the two nations, we have to ensure that we restart the LAC clarification exercise, which Prime Minister had told in 2015 when he had gone to China.
But China rejected them. But China rejected that. China was not inclined.
It rejected. Yeah. That's the reason we had this situation. That's the reason we had this problem in East Ladakh. At the same time, we have to reopen. Look, both the nations are big powers. Both are 1+4 billion population people. They can't have a problem left undone or not gone for the solution mutually on the border issue. We got to start these talks at the political level.
General
And that's
Gurmeet,
what is important.
I'll come back to you, but my belief is that China deliberately wants this issue to be unresolved, not to resolve. General Siwaj, I come to you because I think China is comfortable in leaving this issue unresolved so that they can encroach piece by piece. What do you say?
Absolutely correct. Ajay, China has got disputes with 14 countries as far as the land dispute is concerned.
Right.
And out of that, 12 countries, by and large, they have resolved the issue. It is only India and Bhutan where there is no forward movement. So therefore, it is in interest of China if this boundary issue remain unresolved, because then they can always indirectly put pressure on it.
Right.
Notwithstanding that, now what the point which is there is that most of the majority of the military leaders, strategic leaders were telling, this point was brought in before we started a disengagement process, that, this Kailash range which we have occupied on August 29th, 30th, has been a master stroke which Indian forces have able to achieve by a offensive
But
maneuver.
then we gave up
And
that
this-
advantage.
No, I just let me just give that. And this was something the way we in 1965 we have occupied certain heights in Pakistan, and then Pir Panjal we were able to give that back. The issue which is today is that Chinese, what they are trying to do is that the importance of Depsang is so much to the Chinese and to India that they directly and indirectly have basically scuttled that issue. Now, you must understand that Depsang
General,
is the... I just have to check.
Yeah.
Ajay, just listen me out 1 minute.
Yeah.
The Depsang give them an additional advantage. Not only that, give them a depth to the Titan, they can directly address Sichuan Glacier and Nubra Valley without going to DBO.
Yes.
And this is a place where they can basically collude with Pakistan from the west, from Gilgit-Baltistan, and from east, excited.
Yeah,
and
that-
they
that
can
is what
stand
I'm-
with the
yeah.
Nubra Valley.
Yeah,
I'm only trying to convey,
We had-
whereas India wants that Depsang must go back what they were in before April 2020, because it will be a strategic disadvantage to us. Only point which I totally agree with General Gurmeet is that leverage is left to us on an issue that until the border issue is not resolved, we cannot have a business as usual with Chinese.
Right.
That's a very good thing which India is telling. The bilateral relation between India and China cannot be normal till these border issues are resolved. Till you do not go back to April 2020, we are not going to open up our market with you. We have said no to 5G as far as Huawei is concerned. So Chinese slightly understand. The Chinese are fast master of psychological warfare, cyber war, and also media war.
Right. So General Gurmeet, General Siwaj, we had to take a short break here. So we'll resume this discussion. You please stay tuned. We are discussing about China's new activities on the Ladakh border. So we were talking about Depsang issue, which General Siwaj was mentioning about how Depsang is very crucial for China. So General Gurmeet Singh, I'll come to you about the Depsang factor. So as General Siwaj was mentioning that it gives China access to Gilgit-Baltistan through Aksai chain. And I believe that because that is why I think on Depsang, China is very steadfast. They are not relenting. So because they have access, that's very strategically important area for them. So I don't think they are going to budge from there. So, but China understands only the language of force. What do you do with them?
See, Ajay, firstly, Depsang is a strategic area. There is no doubt about this. This bulge, which is called Depsang bulge, this is a major area of difference between India and Pakistan as far as LAC perception is concerned. In 2002,
China.
I was a part of
India and China.
India and China. So in 2002, I was part of the expert group which had gone to Beijing, and we would try to exchange the map of LAC perception of the two nations. And I've seen the perception of the Chinese. So I know for sure that what is the perception in this area.
What is the perception?
But see, there is an area of difference between us. We have a different perception, they have a different perception.
Yeah.
And the area is rather large. But you must understand one thing, that it is not only LAC, there is a border issue also. If you look at the entire East Ladakh area, then there is a 38,000 square kilometer, which is China is in the adverse possession. So it is LAC differences in this area as it is at the moment. But apart from that, if you look at the bigger issue, then China is in adverse possession of a large chunk of Indian territory. Some point of the time, India, when the capability, skill, and I would say the right time is there, they will have to move out of this area. They are the one who have occupied this area. So I would say at the same time,
so Chinese
when
are
we are
not.
talking about
China is not going to move out on its own. They will have to be forced.
Ajay, who is going to move on his own?
So India.
I think strategically we
So
got to look.
Yeah.
Strategically, we got to look at it that we have a LAC difference, out of which Depsang is one of the major difference between two sides
Right.
in the East Ladakh. That's the first point.
Right.
Second is that it cannot be solved by military level meeting. It will have to be solved at a political level,
Right.
or the level which is
At the
higher
highest
than
level.
military and diplomatic level.
Yes.
Apart from that, as Indians, we must know that there is a border issue. In that border issue in this area, there is 38,000 square kilometers, which is still pending from our perception. We as Indians should never forget that. When we are focusing on the LAC, somewhere in the back of mind, we got to keep in mind that we got a border issue and they are in the adverse position.
Right.
If you see from that point of view, like what General Srivastava was saying, that it is important, it has got correlation with the entire area of Ladakh from that perspective. But there's a bigger issue behind it, which we got to keep in our mind as per the long-term
Yes.
perspective is concerned. We got to give this cost to ensure that areas which belong to, see, look, sovereignty and territorial integrity are not minor issues. This is a core national interest
Right.
issue.
It's a prestige issue.
Therefore, we should never forget this.
Yeah. So we have to conclude, General Siraj. I come to you about like what options do we have? So we had to force China to give up these adverse possessions, as General Gurmeet Singh was mentioning about, and now we have this new challenge. So how do you? What are the options that India should apply? 1 minute,
Ajay,
please.
to my
1 minute, please. Yeah.
understanding, first and foremost thing is China only understands the language of strength. If you want respect from Chinese, you have to become equally strong.
Right.
Otherwise, there will be no respect coming from that side, and they will bulldoze their way. Now, as what we were not paying attention to our northern border, and we were concentrating on western border, we have almost neglected our northern border, starting from Ladakh to Arunachal. The infrastructure development and capacity building was lacking, but we are fast catching in last 10 years. Things have improved tremendously. We are not what we were there almost in 20 years back.
Right.
So this what Chinese are understanding. So we are now trying to put pressure or counter pressure on Chinese. Second thing which I say is that, the cutting edge in between India and China will be Navy and Air Force. The Air Force, the air power which we have has a slight edge. First of all, our airfields are a lower height. Second thing, the quality of aircraft. After the FAL which has been inducted in, 2 squadron will be there by end of this year, which is a 4-5 generation aircraft, MiG-29, Mirage 2000, Sukhoi 30 MKI, Jaguar with Apache attack will make a difference. Third thing is Navy. The Navy is going to be a game changer, and Navy, we have to have a third aircraft carrier and increase our submarine fleet. Because remember that in another decade or so, the Chinese are going to have almost 5 to 6 aircraft carriers
Yes.
and 60 nuclear
So we had to catch
My
up.
point is,
Yeah.
pressure can be put on China in Indian Pacific and Indian Ocean.
Right.
If we can block Malacca Strait, we can dictate some
So
stuff.
for that,
Respect
General,
will only
General
be
Siraj,
gained in case we are strong enough.
I get your point. For that, we had to improve strengths. Like we had to have more aircraft carriers. We need to have more fighter planes. Of course,
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
we need to have strategies also in place, long-term strategies. But the time of this program today is over. Thank you both of you for participating.
Jai Hind, thank you.
Jai Hind. This is all in the agenda today. Viewers, I have an important piece of information to share with you. From June 2nd, that is next Wednesday, your favorite program, The Agenda, will be telecast at 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. Please take note. I will be back with another important and interesting topic tomorrow meanwhile. Till then, you take care and stay safe. Goodbye.